Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson Media, and I'm here today. My guest just stepped out. She's coming, but she has stepped out. Today, we want to discuss about the issues of governance, and as you know very well, that in our country right now, things are not as good as they should be, and we just want to engage one of the leader here. So let immediately she comes. Oh, thank you so much. How are you doing?
Okay, I was looking for a glass of water.
Okay, thank you so much. I just come to realize that you disappear from the screen, and I was wondering what happened.
I was thinking I get water
Uh-huh.
while you run the advert.
Okay, the advert is too short though.
Mm.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm great. I thank God.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
How is the beautiful city of Kisumu?
Kisumu, we are great.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the normal hustle and bustles,
And
we are doing great.
the Gen Z too are giving you a lot of problem as leaders too. They want
The
us not
Gen
to be.
Zs are giving us a run for our money.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for coming in, and we just want to have a conversation about what is happening in the country, especially with the peaceful demonstration that is happening, and the political happenings in the country. And today we just want to talk about uh, the understanding or listening, if the political class are really listening to what the Gen Z are saying, because we are seeing quite a number of reaction, especially from political class. Um,
Mm.
do you think the political class is listening to what the Gen Z are saying?
No,
Why? Why are they not listening?
they're not listening because the political class
Mm.
have gotten used to them doing the talking,
Yeah.
while Gen Z do the listening. Or rather, let me say the political class are used to be the one who they set the tone, they decide what happened next, and the rest of the country, including the Gen Zs, just follow. But no,
Yeah.
now tables have turned. The Gen Zs are saying that we have never spoken, but you are speaking now. We are not our parents, we are not our grandparents. We are speaking and you must listen. But the political class, for some weird reason, I think because of it was not, they never expected that there will come a day that the people will say, you listen, we are talking.
Yeah.
Though those people, the leaders who have been paying attention, genuine attention, knew that this was coming. I've personally spoken about an uprising in Kenya
Yeah.
for almost 2 years now. In fact, I started speaking about it the moment UDA took power.
Yeah.
Took power, I mean. But as usual, you know, UDA have bloggers. Some of them we share with them WhatsApp groups. They're very vicious. They don't like people like me who will go on social media and tell you, if your government, you are going this way, the people want the country to go this way. So instead of UDA government listening to divergent views, they have planted bloggers everywhere. Where anybody with a divergent view, you go on social media, you say ABCD, they descend on you. They insult you, they tell you very bad things. Only that people like myself, there's nothing I haven't heard or seen that you can tell me that can shut me up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, but you're talking about the UDA too, but even the opposition, sometimes seemingly even the opposition are not listening what the Gen Z are saying. Because the reason why I'm saying that, remember when the issue of protest came,
Did I introduce myself?
did you?
I'm
Oh, okay,
asking
go
you.
ahead.
I wanted to introduce myself.
Okay.
And the reason why is I've had people tell me that you need to tell us who you are properly. Those who support me that may not know me well.
Yeah.
My name is Mariam Abed. I was born in Kaloleni Shormo Ward, Kaloleni village, to a Luo mother, to an Arab father. I was born and bred there. I went to Madras in Kaloleni Primary School, where I also did my class 1 and 3. I went to Arena Primary School. I went to Senegal Girls. I went to MTC. I later joined another medical school in the US. So I hope that clears the air.
Okay, thank you so much for doing.
So
I don't know
when we Muslims, when I say Omari, my brother, Omari does not have to have a Luo mother and an Arab father like Mariam. Omari just have to be a Muslim. In Islam, there's something called brotherhood, where all Muslims refer to each other as brothers. I realized it was the bone of contention.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. So let's come to the conversation about the political class not listening, especially the crew. I would say the president himself with his crew, the opposition, the Azimio with their crew, they're not listening to what the Gen Z are saying. And you also agree with me that that is true. Yeah. And why are they not listening?
I already told you, Benson. The reason why the political class are refusing to listen to Gen Z is because if you look at our politics, even before devolution, even, let me say, before Kinababa pushed Tyrant Moi back home, the trend was the politician talk, the people listen. The politician talk, regardless of how much they are spewing nonsense. The people listen, they talk. And when I go back to telling you that I've been one of the people that have been saying for the longest time that there will come a day that the people will tell the political class to shut the F up and listen to the people. That day will come. And like I told you, that most of our politicians, especially those who don't like people like me who tend to have a divergent view, they bring in bloggers. You say something, they send bloggers to come and boomerang you with insults and what have you. But if they listened to what people are saying on social media, if you go to a certain WhatsApp called Nyanza Nationalist, I write there a lot, I'm insulted there a lot by UDA bloggers. If you go back to the things I've been writing there immediately President Ruto take over, you will see that I said that there will come a day before 2027 that the people will tell Ruto to shut the fuck up and listen to the people. And that day is here. And I also mentioned that in Kenya today, the most people that are, the most registered voters that are active are the youths. And majority of those youths are not just people below 35. They are the first-time voters, they are the second-time voters. And if you monitored our 2022 elections, me, I'm probaba, I will be probaba until I die. So that means that I was in Azimio. These first and second-time voters are the people who put Ruto in power. You are listening, Brother Benson?
Yeah, I'm listening.
These people in the streets, they are the ones who put Ruto in power. And the reason they put Ruto in power, you remember when there's a fallout. They were, in fact, in 2017 elections, these young people were with us. In 2017 elections, they were with us. And the reasons they were with us is because in 2013, President Uhuru and Ruto took over. When they did, they promised so much. They promised so much. And like usually they do, they did not deliver even on one thing of everything that they said. So when we got to 2017, you remember Baba had been a whistleblower for against UDA Jubilee government. Going to 2017, we had people like the late Jacob Juma saying that this government is borrowing a lot of money. They're selling Eurobonds. They're doing nothing. The ghost projects, the looting, you know. And these young people that today we are calling the Gen Zs were watching. And these young people, again, they're also the ones who voted in Jubilee in 2013, regardless of the ICC thing. So in 2017, they said, you know, you made so many promises, you are doing bad things, you're going to vote for Raila Odinga, which they did in 2017. In fact, if there is an election that I can take a Bible and testify that Raila Odinga won and won clean and white, black and white, was the 2007 elections and the 2017 elections. And we won those elections because these kids were behind us. If you remember the protests that were the aftermath of 2017 elections, most people who were in the streets were not just Luos or Luyas or Kisses. We had Kikuyus, young Kikuyus that were supporting Raila Odinga against Jubilee government that was led by a Kikuyu. And they said, we don't care what language you speak, because when you are misruling the country, your misrule will not be able to identify that I'm a Kikuyu, that a bed comes from Lonyanza. We will all serve. And they said, Baba, we want change. The things that happened after 2017 election that got us to where now Ruto is the president, these kids again, because of they were not happy with the understanding that we had. You know, Baba always say, a good patriot puts the country first.
Yes.
And I agree with him. I still believe today that a patriot puts the country first. So Baba said,
okay, there. I want just to cut you off because you say a good patriot put the country
puts
first.
the country first.
I agree with you. But if you look at what is happening with the Gen Z, yeah, the Gen Z, there are things that they are calling for.
Yes.
Then they are calling for accountability. They are calling for transparency. They are calling for the audit of the debt. Yeah.
Yes.
And they've gone on protest, and as things stand, they have achieved more than what ever since we got this new constitution. And now Baba came in, and Baba say we should have a dialogue. Yeah. And they say no. Was Baba right when he said that we should have a dialogue? And remember, prior even the Gen Z told him to stay home, let us deal with it.
Yes.
Yeah. Was he right?
I think this is one of those questions where I usually like to have two personalities. I will say the follower of Raila Odinga, that is Mariam Abed, says that Baba was right. Baba is always right. Then there is Mariam Abed, the taxpayer, the voter, the citizen of a country called Kenya. Perhaps there needed to be more. There needed to be other things to happen before we went into dialogue. And please don't make me lose my don't let me lose my support.
No, I'm not telling. No, because the reason why we are not making you to lose your support, because there's some of the things also we need to understand. Because you know, when we came with the Constitution of 2010,
yes,
this was a constitution that gave the people the power.
Yes.
And when you see what Gen Z are doing, they have a stake on this country, because the loan that the president has taken, this loan, the people who are going to pay this loan are the children of Gen Zs and the Gen Zs themselves.
Yes.
And they are saying this. What we want to know the state of the our economy debt. That is what they are saying. They are saying we want to see a competent people being employed. We want to see corruption. Yeah. We want to see that the young men who are on the street are compensated, and even the perpetrator, the police who killed them, are brought to book. Yeah.
Yes.
This is what they're saying. But if you listen to the political class, class, they do want dialogue. Then in the process of dialogue, the positions are being given. So my question to you is, was he right when he said, though he has retracted his statement and said that he's supporting the Gen Z, but did he understand actually what the Gen Z needed? Because they gave everything that they wanted.
No.
Yeah.
And that goes back to me telling you that in this country, for the longest time, politicians have been doing the talking and the people have been doing the listening. To a point, they became comfortable talking. And they became comfortable talking. They didn't care about listening. And that's why I say, perhaps, you know, there's something about Raila Odinga that, as being one of his closest followers, I've learned about him.
Yeah.
Baba believes that the country is bigger than all of us, which is why he has won so many elections, and people are killed, people are killed, you see people dying, you say, you know, I don't want the presidency if it is coming with all this blood. So you have to be cognizant of that Raila Odinga that does not want the country to go to the dogs. And when he said he was for the dialogue, he was actually right for the dialogue, only that the call was for the dialogue should have not come faster, or rather fast, before the call to understand that what exactly brought us to where we are today. Because these kids are well read. These kids are well informed. Thank God to the internet. The world is a global village. They follow Ruto. Each and everything Ruto has said, where he has gone, whatever he has promised, it's there on the internet. So they are not just speaking in vacuum. They're speaking. They know what they want. They know what the president has done. They know why they need to be in the streets for the president to listen to them. That is the only thing our people were not cognizant to. But there's nothing is lost yet. Yesterday, Baba said that if wants to listen to genz.
Yeah.
And he said, let us talk about the social injustices. Let us start with the people who are killed, like that brave gentleman called Denzel Omondi, the JKUAT student that went to parliament and said, Mr. Speaker, so you remember that video?
Yeah.
That kid was killed, and that is not okay. That cannot be okay. We cannot talk about positions without addressing the death of that child.
And that's where now I'm coming from, because if you remember very well, James Orengo, the Siaya governor, His Excellency James Orengo, was very clear. Yeah, James Orengo was very clear. And this one, I have to say that I was so much disappointed in your chairman for ODM, Mbadi. You know, I was so
I've gotten a lot of those texts online too.
I'm so much disappointed in him because, for example, remember when I came, I was in Kisumu County. I went to Homa Bay. Actually, I visited Gwasi, where Mbadi comes from, a place called Magunga. I went all the way to that place, Magunga. I just wanted to go and see what is happening, and you know. And I say, this is now the 17th year you've been in parliament. You're talking about, there's a mother somewhere who has lost a kid. Remember the mother, even yesterday, the kid has been missing for all a month. This mother, do you think the family, what kind of stress they were going through? And you are going to a village and telling us how we need to negotiate about a country. You don't feel the pain for a mother who the kid has been missing for the last 1 month. You don't feel a pain for a mother who the kid was shot. You don't feel a pain for people who are are in the hospital now, nursing wounds. What matters to you is about negotiating and getting power. You're telling us on how you are supposed to get a minister, and I don't know what Uhuru Kenyatta and what did for you. What kind of leadership is that?
I want to tell you that James Orengo, has somebody who was one of the champions of the second liberation, was actually very right in his statement. And Mheshimiwa Mbadi, the ODM chairman, as a politician who I believe was not part of the second liberation struggle, like most of us, if you look at let me start with what James Orengo said and why I agree with both of these two very different statements. I believe that, you know, in politics, we have politicians who maybe just said, I want to be a politician. Then we have people like Raila Odinga, people like James Orengo, people like Anyang' Nyong'o, people like Otiende Amolo, people who, including Mariam, people like me, who are in politics because we started as activists. Yeah. Even I started as an activist. Raila Odinga started as an activist. That is why he was locked for 8 years, and now we are able to speak here freely without somebody busting my doors. Yeah. So these people will always have different perspectives. And it doesn't make Mheshimiwa Mbadi a bad guy. It doesn't make Orengo bad. It just means that they view whatever is going on from the angle that they became into politics with and how they view our politics. When James Orengo said that it is too early to go into dialogue, he was right, and I agree with him. Do you know why it is too early to start talking about positions? We have kids like, I'm repeating, like Denzel Omondi, a JKUAT students. One of our own from here in Lower Nyanza, he comes from, I don't know, South Nyanza. We have to talk about these things. There are people who are still missing. Our children are still missing. We want to tell the president, please stop with recruiting the cabinet. Talk to us about our children that are missing. Talk to us about our children that were unjustly killed in the streets. And before I go into talking to president, the people that should be held accountable for all this mess, Benson, are UDA MPs and all the ODM MPs that left ODM, defied our party leader when Baba said, go and vote against this bill. But they went to parliament and voted for this bill. Let us not forget that. Yep. The people that have to go before Ruto go, if you ask me, are the UDA MPs. And all the MPs UDA bought. You're getting me? Yeah. All the MPs that UDA bought that voted for that stupid housing levy bill in 2013. This thing started building up in 2013. In 2023, I mean, not 2013. So that one is something that we must emphasize. Nobody's talking about the MPs that made our children go to the streets, the MPs that refused to listen to the voice of the people, that made our sons leave their lecturers and go to parliament and be killed like flies. Those MPs must take responsibility by being recalled. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, James Orengo is right. How are we going to talk about cabinet positions when some of these kids are still missing? When some of these kids are still in mortuary? Why can't President Ruto be a parent first? Why can't he be a parent first? Why can't he be a father first? There's no hurry. The country is currently running with 0 CSS. Why can't he say, by the way, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I don't believe that Ruto should go between 2027, and I will tell you why. I'm one of the people who believe that let Ruto finish his term. If you want to send Ruto home, come out and send him home in 2027. With that out of the way, Ruto cannot start telling us that he wants to put ABCD in cabinet. We want President Ruto to take accountability. He must first take accountability of the bad things he has done, the way he has defied the voice of the people. To a point, our children have to go to the streets to remind him that, my friend, we elected you.
Yeah.
The presidency is not your birthright, and you will not talk to us the way you want. He has to take that responsibility. And the reason why he must take that responsibility, that is the only way that people like myself, who are mothers, who have seen kids chopped, who have seen kids being shot like dogs in the streets, I will then believe that perhaps the president has had an epiphany. The president is waking up. The president has realized that it is not business as usual. Let Ruto call even a prayer day. Let Ruto tell us where the kids at Wajapatikana wako wapi. Let him tell us what. Let him talk to parents like the parents of Denzel Omondi. Let us heal. We cannot heal if the president does not take responsibility and accountability.
You see, like, I agree with you that is very true. But, you know, this is what is happening. And I know sometimes you might not agree with me. This is, we name it, or we give it a name, the brotherism that we usually see in a political field, you know. Because what happens is that if you are like 10 brothers and one of them, somebody has come for you, you feel like the other 9 also has to build this fear that they will come for us. And this is what we are seeing in the political class, because the political class has been shaken. They do not understand, like, there's a change that is coming. And that's why they are trying to reach out, where the president is trying to reach out to Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga and say, okay, we need to do this. And they are using the same tactics or the same system that has been used for the longest time.
That is happening.
Yeah.
That is happening because remember I told you that what our politicians, all of them, have been unable to internalize is the fact that things have changed. These kids are talking and you need to listen. And they are having a problem understanding that these kids need them to listen. These kids are doing the talking and it is their time to do the listening. That is why that is happening. And the reason why I refuse to rebuke Baba's need for dialogue is, you know, when Mheshimiwa Mbadi said that we are going for the dialogue, we are going to fill the position, Mbadi was talking as a politician.
Yes.
That's why I told you that in politics, we have people who joined politics. And doesn't mean that they're lesser politicians, so they're not good politics. It just means that the lessons, if you put Mariam, who found politics by virtue of being an activist, and that person who just decided, I want to be a politician, we will always see things very differently. Like for me, what I'm seeing now, I'm seeing social injustices of our children that have been killed. A politician is seeing a position, is seeing an opportunity to swing into government and claim the positions. We will never see things the same. So, that is why most politicians don't like activists like me.
Okay, so now my question to you is, if what is being said, because there's a justification that we are being told, that's the way I understand. If you say very well that, okay, if you want Ruto to go, where will Ruto go? Because they say Gachagua is more worst than Ruto. So it means you are justifying that Ruto, with all the things that we are asking, accountability, transparency, and all that, and even the compensation and the way the children were brutally and the excessive force that were used on the kids on the street. Yeah. So despite all those, we can have to negotiate and say, because Gachagua is too bad, he's a tribalist and all that, so it's better to have Ruto. So which means you are justifying that what happened, let it be. is not solving the situation. So let us just have President, so we negotiate
Let
with
her charge her.
Yeah, we negotiate with him. Is that one what is happening based on what we are being told, that if Ruto goes, Gachagua is going to be the president? Yeah. So we are just saying that what he did is is okay.
Now, that is why I told you that I will need you and our viewers to look at this situation with two different perspectives. There is the political perspective, then there is the other perspective that most of us are looking at it with. And the reason why I say that it is too early for dialogue and the kind of dialogue I'm saying is too early for is the position, the way we are giving position.
Yes.
And I'm also saying that with the same breath that we don't need Ruto to go now. I'll tell you why I'm also for the fact that let Ruto finish his term. I will tell you, and I'm not a fan of President Ruto. He has been one of the worst presidents this country has ever had. But I believe allow him to finish his term. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
When James Orengo was speaking, when James Orengo was speaking bitterly, the way I'm speaking bitterly, the James Orengo that was speaking is the activist James Orengo, who is a social justice champion, second liberation champion with Kinababa, Matiba, and what have you. Then there's Mheshimiwa Mbadi, our honorable chairman of the ODM party, which I respect so much. He was also right. If you listen to what Mheshimiwa Mbadi said, he said that we will not help Mount Kenya mafias and the billionaires who have a political score to settle with Ruto to remove him in power. That is what Mbadi was saying. That's why I'm telling you there are two angles to this thing. The political angle that is here is, and I think we left very important things that should have led to this discussion. But I'll go back to it. You know, I told you that I've been writing about this day coming in some of our WhatsApp groups, one of them being a Nyanza nationalist group where it's predominantly UDA people. There are so many vicious bloggers there. They see people like Mariam, they see red, but I've still been writing. And the things I've been writing there was, in 2017, I was in the streets in Nairobi County in election year to Chama ya ODM ya Baba. One of the people, some of the most people that were with us in demonstrations were genz. They were Kikuyus, regardless of the fact that the people that were on the other side the president was a Kikuyu. These kids didn't care about tribe then, and they don't care about now. So when the handshake happened in March, some of these kids actually left us. I need you to listen to this very well.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So when now we went into 2022 campaigns, you remember that Mutai Nguni, a very bad tribal bigot that nobody should listen to, and may God forgive me for that. Mutai Nguni created a very dangerous narrative that he started with that blog where he uses to peddle propaganda and negative ethnicity. He came up with something called the Hustlers versus Dynasties. And that is what has caused this problem today. He's the one who radicalized these kids. When he came up with the idea that the Odinga family, the Kenyatta family, those were bad people, the Moi family, these were the dynastic family, the ones who are ruling Kenya, which is not true. The Odinga family is somebody who knows that family inside. These people work hard like me and you. There's nothing they have out of the ordinary that you will say that they got it because they are dynasties. So this dynasty versus poor people, the way they have and they have not, the way Mutai Nguni created this terrible narrative, Ruto took it in 2022 and ran with it. He promised Kenyans. And remember, if you looked at, even if you go back now and look at the people who are filling UDA stadiums and the people who are filling Azimio stadiums, people like me who are going up there were with Raila Odinga. Those who understand the history of this country. The Gen Zs, the first and second time voters, were on the side of Ruto. Ruto was wearing those skinny jeans they like. Ruto was dancing those foolish dance that Gen Zs love. You know, he was telling them everything that they wanted to hear. Ruto told them that serikali ni ya watu wa chini. Am I lying?
That's true.
And Ruto told them, my government will include Mama Mboga, watu wa boda boda. You, the Gen Zs that have graduated, you don't have jobs. At Kinauru and Baba were giving their children jobs. That is the way Ruto sold his candidature. And at that time, I remember there were people who told Ruto off and told him, you have started a very dangerous trend. And this trend will also one day catch up with you. He was setting poor people against the Odinga family, against the Jaramogi, against the Moi family, against the Kenyatta family. And any sane Kenyan who is a critical observer said that he has started a dangerous trend, but Ruto did not care to listen. Fast forward, he formed his government. I was one of the people who was following Ruto very keenly. Because I told you, me, I became a politician by virtue of being an activist. So I followed Ruto very keenly. Every single day, he brought a list of leaders to be put into cabinet positions. I did not see a hustler in that list. All the people that came, there were somebody who say, I'm worth 900 million, I'm worth 300 million. I did not say I'm a Mamboga in Ruto's cabinet. These Gen Zs were taking notes. With all that, Ruto got comfortable. We said, give Ruto time. I think even some of us, Baba said, give him time, let him work.
Yes.
Then came the Ruto that nobody now knew, a new brand Ruto. The blue-eyed boy of the Western imperialists. He became very arrogant. He became one of those people that, just a cool kid. He became a cool kid, not listening to anybody.
Yeah.
When the first financial bill came, the first I don't want to call this thing financial bills. These are International Monetary Fund regulations.
Yes.
Also called IMF and World Bank.
Yeah.
Those of us who are activists or who came into politics through activism read a lot. Me, for example, I went into medicine, but my greatest love is geopolitics. It is black and brown history. That means that I read a lot. I go to social media, I do a lot of things when I'm free. And I researched IMF. I saw how many third world countries that IMF has destroyed with this rigid taxes that we were trying to create here. That was 2023. We made noise. I made noise in that group, that WhatsApp group where UDA people have put bloggers to insult people like myself. I made a lot of noise there. Nobody was paying attention. But I was deliberately making noise there because I knew that group was pro-UDA. And I knew the UDA leaders were there. And in the back of my head, I was thinking, in case the president does not know what he's getting into, let the people who are here read these things and go and do research and tell the president you're on the wrong route. But the president, according to some of his friends, they say the president advises his advisors.
Okay.
So long story short.
Yeah.
The build-up, the Gen Zs, it was a build-up. And it was a build-up that started with the 2023 finance bill that brought in that criminal housing levy bill. That is where these kids started to do what? To build. Then now what really pissed most of Kenyans off was when Ruto refused to implement the bipartisan talk. Because if you remember, the bipartisan talk is what took people from the streets. When that report came, they did not implement it. And these kids were taking notice. They were taking notice.
You're talking about the NADCO?
Yes.
Now,
let me finish.
Finish. I'll ask you about the NADCO too.
We will talk about NADCO.
Yes.
Now, after the 2023 finance bill was implemented that brought in the criminal housing levy fund, this kid watched as politicians took a backseat like nothing has happened. But here and there, you would see people like myself kept talking that this is a criminal levy. Nobody listened. Fast forward to 2024 now. Again, the president came with this IMF thing. A thing that was drafted in the US, in Washington, D.C. Kenya is not a banana republic or a colony of the West. For somebody to go and sit down in Washington, D.C., draft a very rigid, burdensome taxes and bring to us here in Kenya. People told President Ruto, we don't want this bill. It was everywhere in social media, everywhere. And majority of the people who are even speaking louder than people like me who belong to Azimio were people who voted for Ruto. But he didn't take note. I remember in one of his rallies, the president said, muende tu kwa barabara, mukimaliza kutembea kwa barabara, that bill will still pass. And like a bad joke, the parliament allowed that bill to go through. And I want to, by the way, to thank our ODM leaders, because majority of our ODM leaders voted against that bill. The 2024 finance bill, I thank them for that, for doing the right thing. Now, we are now here. These Gen Zs, the first 14 days, that these Gen Zs were in the streets. These kids were very peaceful. These kids did not destroy even a mama banana by the roadside. They didn't touch that didn't belong to them. Then after around 15 days, we started seeing very violent demonstrations. Even when the police decided to shoot live bullets against these kids, they didn't destroy any property. I remember I saw a video where these kids were saying, we are peaceful. They were only carrying placards and flags and firibis. We are peaceful. We are peaceful. They didn't snatch anybody's phone. They didn't do anything. There were university kids. There were rich kids.
Yeah.
And it was very peaceful. Then the president withdrew the bill. The president agreed that he was going to dissolve the cabinet, which, by the way, I must say this, the Ruto's cabinet is one of the worst cabinet Kenya has ever had. That one must be in record. The most incompetent, uneducated, fraudulent people that he put in government positions. That one must stop going forward. Now, with that said, after this Gen Z's peaceful protest, we saw this protest take a very different turn. That is where Baba now started saying, no, it looks like there is more going on.
Yes.
Beyond the Gen Z's, which I also believe that right now, there is something sinister. There is something out of the ordinary that are going on with this current protest. And just hear me.
Yes, I hear you.
Ruto removed that bill. They said that the cabinet was inherently incompetent. I agree. It was the worst cabinet we've ever had in the history of this country. Even Moi had a better cabinet. Ruto removed that one. They say we don't want the office of the first president, the first woman, I don't know what have you. The president removed those things. Then we saw that instead of now allowing the president to continue doing what he should do, instead the intensity of the maandamanos imepanda, and the more the demonstrations were going on, the more violent they became. We are seeing people's houses being torched down. We are seeing people being stabbed. It went dark so quickly. Even I, Mariam, believe that there's something beyond these demonstrations that are going on. And I believe it is through those lenses that Raila Odinga is also looking at these things. I'm of this opinion.
Yes.
Number one, that must be in record.
Yeah.
President Ruto has not been a good person to the people of Kenya. That one must be in record.
Yeah.
President Ruto has been a politician instead of a leader. He has been constantly in political mode. Instead of, after campaigns, transitioning to leadership, he went straight to politics. And he did this playing politics with very crucial things like cabinet ministries. Look at agriculture. We have an agriculture CS that is telling us he wants to go and buy land in Zambia, buy farmers in Zambia, plant maize in Zambia, then bring them back here in the country. What kind of a stupid joke is that? Coming from a cabinet minister. We have a health minister who can go to Bungoma, a health minister that I, Mariam, did a background search on, and I could not see anything doing to do with the medicine that is in his CV.
Yeah.
And even after we decided that, okay, sometimes you don't have to have degrees to be a good leader. She was, instead of trying to rejuvenate the rotten health system in this country, she was in Bungoma firing, I don't know, CIDs, I don't know what, and saying that this is our government, we have a collective approach where even a minister for land can come and fire a teacher. And I asked myself, is this a banana republic? So when I did my research, I realized that perhaps it was the way she was viewing things. So we agree that President Ruto has not been a good person, not just a president. He has been a terrible person. And number three.
Yeah, number three. Then just finish. Then I will ask you a question on that about NADCO report that you mentioned about bipartisan.
Now, number three.
Yeah.
After we established that Ruto has not been a good guy, he has not been a good president. He's a horrible politician also. Because if he was a smart politician, this bill should have not gone through. What we cannot afford to not talk about is parliament. You know, when Kinababa drafted, when Baba and his team in 2008 decided that we needed a new constitution that would devolve power. One of the reasons why we did not go the premier way and chose the presidential system was that the MPs were going to be autonomous. where they're going to listen to, they're going to represent us compared to the previous MPs like in Amoy. I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So the MPs in this country, before Ruto goes home, we need to recall each and every MP that voted for that stupid housing levy in 2023, that voted for this bill, ESI, IMF, because think of it this way. We devolved power because we assumed that regardless of how a president becomes rogue, if the parliamentarians are still the servants of the people, the president will not be able to implement rogue deals, rogue regulations like this IMF thing. So Ruto, bad guy, granted. Parliament was supposed to stop Ruto. That is why we are paying a billion wage bill. Parliament was supposed to stop President Ruto whenever he's gone rogue. What did Parliament do? Parliament was some of our parliamentarians were living opulence lifestyle with big cars parked here and there. Some of them were people that they didn't have anything before they became MPs and CSS. So we cannot afford to assume that the problem started in the parliament. Before the president goes, can we recall the parliamentarians that failed to heed the will of the people?
Yeah, but now let's come. You talked about NADCO report that you say was bipartisan, and all of us read this NADCO report, and we saw the points that came. One of the the points were about the IEBC, which was increasing the number of commissioners from 7 to 9. That was there. Another one was also where one of them was talking about the fidelity of the political party, where any was stopping any government from poaching other members of the political party to join them. Yeah, that was there. So my question to you is now, what has happened? That BBI did not include how when a party wants to join the government. That was not
you're saying the BBI?
No, the NADCO report, because one of the NADCO report, one of the things that NADCO report was stopping, especially, was to control the political fidelity or coalition fidelity, whereby the government cannot poach other legislature to their side. That was one of the reports, or one of the points in the BBI. Then it was also talking about positions, yeah, and you look at the positions, how the positions are, and you look at the history of Kenya, especially when we have dialogue or when we have bipartisan issues. What usually comes is positions. We don't go to the main issues that affect the country, but the position will always come first. Why? How can we run away from that and deal with the real issues?
I think you are right, and I think also as a new person, one of the rebuttal I've gotten online was where people are telling me that had your party, ODM, or rather Azimio coalition, took note of why people did not want the 2023 finance bill and took it into account and expounded it and put it in the final draft, that perhaps things would have been better. But I think we can say our bad as Azimio, because we are people, we are not machines, we are human beings. But on the other side of things, when Baba vice, and you refuse to vote for Baba because you bring in those cultural nonsense of I don't know watu wamekatwa na watu hawajakatwa, then you elect a president that you think speaks this comes from the tribe that you can tolerate compared to the lower community. Baba ni mfanyikazi yako. So that every 5 years you elect rogue president, and I expect Raila Odinga to come and clean that president for you. Is Raila Odinga your worker? Has Baba not been vying?
And that's we still bring us to the entire question of why, when we know and everybody knows that okay, the president was messing up, the president is not in good shape, that people are calling for all these demands that the Gen Z are calling, but now we are calling Baba to the extent whereby people say that Baba has always come when things are in crisis. But at the end of the day, after coming, what else? What else? What has always come after coming? It's usually a cycle. The mistakes will take place. We know what will happen. We will call Baba. Baba will come and talk and quell the voices of the people who are saying, okay, we don't want it. But now it is something that is constant. Each and every day repeating itself. But this time round, the Gen Z have decided, no, we are doing it. Yeah, so Baba should take a backseat. And because these are his children. He taught them on how to go on the street. He taught them on how to hold county every person accountable. Yeah, because his motivation drives. What then? If his motivation drives, then you say is being called now. When now that liberation is coming, and they say, okay, now we need to have a dialogue. And people are asking, what dialogue are we going to have? We've given you our demands. We don't want nepotism. That is one. We want accountability and transparency. We don't want recycling of ministers. We want a lean government. And now you're telling us, okay, now let's come and talk. We are talking over what? I know at some point talking will be there. But before we talk, make sure that these demands that we are bringing to you, nobody, if you listen to Gen Z, actually, the Gen Z they do not want anybody, they are not of any party. They're not coming for your position. They don't want you. They're just telling you, these are the things that we want you to do for us.
Charger, not a charger.
Yeah. These are the things that we want you to do for us.
So bring the other one.
So that's what the Gen Z are asking. So, though Baba has retracted his stand then to kind of like join the government, but I think the ground was not with him. Yeah, the ground was very hostile about the stand he took by people having conversation. Now let's now come to the beautiful city of Kisumu. Let's talk about Kibuye Market. What is happening in Kibuye?
I want first to talk about Baba, then I'll go to Kibuye. I think the reason I want to say why our party leader thought that dialogue was the best option first before we go to Kibuye. As somebody who I always pride myself of being a student of Raila Odinga politics, the reason why Baba felt that he needed to swoop in and say enough is enough, let us try dialogue now, was because, as I was telling you earlier, that the first 14 days of the Gen Z demonstrations were very peaceful, very productive. And I want to also say here that I am very, very grateful to the young people who went to the streets. They saved us from this finance bill that would meant my next pay slip would probably be leaner than it is right now. That the bill would have probably hiked the cost of living by 30 to 40%. I think that may God bless our children, may they keep that spirit. With that out of the way, the reason why Baba felt that perhaps he should swoop in and bring in the dialogue thing is because if you've been keenly following this Gen Z, the protest, the way they started, they were very peaceful. These kids didn't carry any knives. They were not breaking any property. But then all of a sudden, the thuggery started coming out. Houses are being torched. People are being hurt. Then Baba said, no, this seems like somebody is now trying to just destroy the country. And Baba said, we cannot let this country go Sudan way. And you noticed that the calls for Ruto must go became louder than anything else in the country. Ruto must go. So yes. We thought, even I, Mariam, the reason why I was telling you that I'm not for Ruto going, no, and I acknowledge that he's a terrible president, but I'm not for him going. Let us assume that Ruto must go, like the Gen Zs have been preaching. Yeah. You know, I noticed that the truthful man, Gachagua, yes, is a very controversial politician. But for some weird reason, have not seen a tag that says Gachagua should go. It's just Ruto must go. And of late, it is Ruto Raila must go. Because they're the head of the government. Ruto is the head of the Kenya Kwanza administration. Raila is the opposition leader. I understand. Just listen to me, I understand you. Now, my thing was, we cannot say Ruto must go without explicitly saying that Ruto and Gachagua must go. That was my issue number one. Number two, that the reason why I felt that something else is going on that is bigger than the Gen Z was when no matter what the president did, no matter what Baba said, the calls for him to go were louder and louder and louder, superseding even the good things that he was trying to do, even though he was refusing to listen to the people initially. But now he was listening. Let me put this thing like this. Ruto is a bad president, granted. I'll say even in front of him, his face, he has not been a good guy.
Yes.
Number two, of late, he seems like he's willing to listen. Does that change the bad things he has done previously? No.
No.
Does that mean we send him home? We could, but according to our constitution, I'm not well versed with constitutional law. I'm putting that outside there. The little I understand our constitution is that when the president resigns, the deputy president may take over. Could be wrong. That's why I'm saying I'm not a student of constitutional law. The president, the deputy president could take over. I don't know whether it's accurate, but assuming that when the president resigns, he goes with the deputy president, then we are told maybe the Speaker of the National Assembly could take over. In these instances, legally speaking, our assembly as it is, our parliament as it is null and void.
Yes.
The reason why it is null and void, the people breached parliament and took the power back from these lazy MPs. So parliament is null and void. Wetangula, null and void. Who do that leave us with?
Chief Justice.
Madam Hotel. Just listen. The only alternative we are left with is Madam Hotel. Madam Hotel is the Chief Justice. From where I sit, one of the most rotten institutions in this country is our judicial system. That must also be out there. Now, Madam Hotel taking over for 60 days. Let us assume so. This country is broke. I have friends who are doctors, nurses. They've not been paid for quite some time now because the country is broke. If you listen to the president, he said one of the reasons why he felt this thing must come through is because the country is broke. We will even have to now go back to half our budget. If the president and the deputy president is ousted, that means we are going to elections. And it is not just the presidential election. It should be right from where I sit, the MCA, to the top. Do we have money to go to elections in 60 days? Number one. Who is to say that President Ruto, a son of, I don't know, former colonial fighter, will go down easy and will just say, I'm going away because Gen Z say, what if he decides to fight? What if we have a military takeover? Do you know what happened in Sudan? Do you know what happened in Egypt during the famous Arab Spring?
But let me just
finish because I want you to know why I'm supporting Ruto staying until 2027.
You are coming to that. But you know, one thing that you have to look at, what brought all those you're saying about Sudan, the same thing that happened in Sudan was about the IMF bill. The IMF that was bringing was
even Tunisia the same thing.
When you go to Egypt, the same thing. So it is we know what is ailing us, you know.
Yes.
First of all, that we have to deal with neo-economic strategies that is forced on us. That is one.
Yes.
Yeah. Do away with IMF, the bill and the World Bank, because especially the bill that made Kenya to be where they are. It was written by NIF. I mean IMF. It was not a Kenya.
In Washington, I know.
Yeah, it was just given to the president. Okay, have this. This is what we want you because you've been taking loans. So this is how it's going to happen. It happened in Sudan. It happened in Egypt. So
Tunisia, Algeria.
Thing, you know. So anyway, just finish your
That's why I'm saying Ruto has failed as the president. Yeah. He has done all these bad things, but because we are not in a position to call for an election within 60 days, knowing that even with a functional presidency and a peaceful country, we have never been able to hold a free and fair presidential elections. So that we do not go the Sudanese way, we do not go the Egyptian way, we do not go the Algerian way. I'm of the opinion that let there be dialogue. But let this dialogue start with the deaths, the unjust deaths of our children who are shot like dogs in the streets. Let the president and the police take accountability. Let us compensate these people. It's called fidaya in Islam. Let us compensate these people. You're getting my point, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let us heal the mothers that still don't know where their children are. Let us heal the mothers whose their sons died. Let us compensate them. Bring some closure to these families. As soon as we are done with that, let us now have this coalition government. And the reason why, for me, I'm saying let it be a coalition government. Baba is going to hold Ruto responsible for the next of 2 years. That Ruto is going to be. Just listen to me.
Okay.
Just listen. The remaining 2 years, I hope you're aware that it's only 2 years to national elections.
Yeah.
So after these 2 years, let the Gen Zs, let people like me who believe Ruto has been a bad president, come out and have a candidate that we have vetted and we know can lead well. Then we vote that person in. Because you take Ruto home now, within 60 days, who is the alternative for Gen Zs? Gen Zs they are faceless, they are tribeless, which is a good thing. Their classless is a good thing, but who can come to the table that will say we are the Gen Zs? Who?
Okay. Before we go to the Kisumu Kibuye market, and we are almost winding up, I want you to there's a statement there's a statement that you've made. Baba is going to hold Ruto responsible. And this is
I'm saying that the reason why we felt that Baba can keep Ruto liable, or rather responsible, can keep him in check, is because we have already established that Ruto by himself is not a good leader. He's not a good leader. So these 2 years that Baba, the reason why Baba wanted dialogue is because Baba was also thinking, Ruto goes home with Gachagua. Everybody will go home definitely. Where do we have money, billions to run an election within 60 days? Who is the alternative that even the Gen Zs themselves have that they can say, we want to remove Ruto, we want to put Mariam? Who do they have? They've mentioned Okiya Matata, a wonderful guy, an activist like myself, but is he really ready to be a president? They've mentioned Miguna. I would not want a Miguna presidency, and Miguna is my personal friend, by the way. I met Miguna during the national resistance movement in 2017. He put me, he put me in that committee. He's
General.
my friend, but I dread a Miguna presidency. As Madam, I dread his presidency, even his leadership, any office. God forgive me.
Okay, now
let's go to Kibuye.
What is happening in Kibuye before we wind up?
In Kibuye, I will not speak much because this thing is already in court.
Yeah.
I would probably just say a few things. The number one thing I want to say is I vied in Kaleni Shorimoyo, which is part of Kibuye market.
Yes.
And other than vying in Kaleni Shorimoyo in 2022, Kibuye market, as somebody who was born in Kaloleni, we are just neighbors. And as I said that I was born there, I've spent most of my life there other than maybe going to school. I have never seen a situation where there is fracas in the market, where traders march from the market to our county assemblies to a point tear gas are thrown inside our county assembly. I have never seen that. The previous MCA is a political OG, if I can use that word. She was a councillor, I think twice, for Stadium Ward before it was merged with now my area in Kaloleni.
Kaloleni?
Yes. I never had any issue that watu wanapigana to appoint people buried. She again became the mayor. She became an MCA twice. I never saw what we are currently witnessing in the market. And because anything that is in a court of law, you cannot now talk about it.
Yeah.
What I want to say to the people of Kaloleni Shorumo Ward is that it is time to take note. Leadership is not about possessions. It's not about wanting to grab everything. Leadership is about entrenching, is about enriching the life of the people.
Yes.
Whatever you get as your pay as a leader is just a bonus. With that said, I want to appeal for the people of Kibuye Market and to the people of Kaloleni village, where I come from, where we lost 2 children to gang violence, stabbed to death. Another one is still in the ICU. I think now has been moved to a recovery area. That it is not worth it by any means necessary. It is not worth it. There is no position that is worth a human life.
Yes, that's true.
There is no position that is worth a human life. Number 2, let us bring peace. Let us preach unity. Let us take this opportunity to take note. when Almighty God blesses us to reach 2027, we will not have leaders who are so greedy and cannot be full with what they've already grabbed to a point they'd rather send other people's children to the grave. That one must be there. As I finish, I want to address the governor of this county. My good friend, the governor I voted for with a lot of pride, and I still support with a lot of pride. We, the people of Kaloleni, we voted for Governor Nyong'o twice, not once, twice. We voted for the governor because we felt that he had the ability to lead the people of Kisumu, including my Muslim community where I come from. Yep. As the governor of this county, we are waiting for him to expedite investigation so that we can know why our children had to die, why our kids had to die. We are waiting for him to find out why for the last 2 years, the market has not known peace. And the market is something that brings revenue, very big revenue in this county. We are asking him, as the leader of Kisumu County, to issue a statement telling us the investigation ya vifo ya watoto wetu imefika wapi. And we are warning anybody who think they are so rich, who think they are so powerful because they have created a circle of thugs and looters and cartels that they can intimidate me or our people. We are watching 24/7. I personally know I've been discussed severally. And I say to them, bring it on.
Okay. Thank you so much for always coming on our show and discussing with us things that matters a lot. And we thank you. We appreciate you. And for people who do not know, Mariam is from Kisumu City, where I come from. I'm coming from Nyalenda. Uko chini kabisa lower milimani uko, kama unajua uko ndio mimi niko.
Actually, I'm forgetting something.
Yeah.
I think where we have reached here in Kisumu County,
yes,
we may need we need people to sit down. We need people to sit down and discuss some issues, even in our assembly. I know I'm one of the people are telling me here, even so comments, talk to us about committees of the assembly. I will not talk about the committees of the assembly because hakuna mtu mwenye imeandikwa mahali lazima pate na mwingine asipata. Otherwise, one of the things I'm praying to God that is, if God gives us life, if we are tweaking the 2010 constitution, we have to check excesses in county assemblies. We cannot have people we cannot continue to breed devolution monsters. There has to be some laws by regulations, whatever they are called, that can check the powers that each and every person holds, including Mariam Abed. Okay. For the sake of the future.
Okay, that's true because actually when I came, I spoke to several members of county assembly, but that thing came out because sometimes even on how to hold the county accountable, even when it comes to tendering, giving contracts, you cannot, because if you do that one, you are going against the party and you might get all these threats. So members sometimes tend to keep quiet because what is happening, So,
I know that, and I even remember, was it yesterday or the other day, where I like making noise in some group called Genz Nationalists, and somebody inboxed me, and they are telling me that we are really wondering why you cannot feature in certain committees. But I told those people that still lazima ikuwe mimi. It can be anybody, so long as those committees are functional. But even with that said, we cannot overlook the fact that devolution has created corruption monsters in our counties. And anytime somebody tells you that the party does not want us to hold our counties responsible, that person is part of the cartels that are just destroying our counties. I can tell you for a fact that I told you one of my favorite leaders in this part of the country is Mheshimiwa Ruto Odinga. Yeah. I talk to her every now and then. And I remember my last conversation with her was, how many bills have you sponsored in the county assembly, Mariam? She asked me. Yeah. I need you guys to do your job. She told me, do your job. I took you there so that you create bills that are friendly to women, because her office is an affirmative action office, the women reps office. Yeah. And our office my office as a special elected person for minority groups goes hand in hand with her office. So one time she said, what have you, it was not just me, we were many of us, the special elected leaders, and she told us, you have to do things. You have to keep the county under check in a disrespectful manner. You cannot go there and become flowers, because people will say, wewe ndio ni Mama Mariam wa siasa. Your child is not doing anything. She told us. So if somebody is saying that members of the county assembly are afraid to call, or rather to oversight the assembly because of the party, that is a big fat lie. There is nowhere where our party has said, do not oversight or do your job. It is the cartel. Those monsters that devolution has created, they are the ones who use the party's name to threaten people who are outspoken like myself. And I'm not afraid to say.
Okay.
That is the truth of the matter.
Okay.
It is not the party, it is not Baba Raila Odinga, it is not Mheshimiwa Mbadi, it is not even Governor Anyang' Nyong'o. It is those monsters that have been created by devolution. They are the ones who are spreading that propaganda to instill fear in people like me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Muesh, and thank you for coming in. If you're new in this channel, kindly subscribe. And tomorrow also we will be having another leader talking about the same issues, about what is happening in our country. And it's always a pleasure to have you on our show. Thank you so much, and may God bless you, and may God bless our beautiful city of Kisumu. Thank you so much.
Amen.